We're gonna go ahead and begin because
Yo,
we're gonna go ahead and begin.
yo,
To all my people that still watch wrestling, man,
yeah.
this is episode 87 or 88. Dang, I done lost track. I think this should be 88.
88.
It's
Should be
88.
88. It should be
It was
88.
88. Yes, we still watch wrestling, man. Denton's here, Shaq is here, man.
Shout out to our brother Chili. I talked to him today. I got cussed out for no reason. Yeah, that just means he misses me.
So,
Man, I miss you too, bro. Man, that's it. Yeah.
shout out to Chili, man.
Willie was starting and work in the True Blues already. He ain't give him time to breathe or nothing. He wanted to work already. Just
I ain't even put in the bed. I haven't put in for a bed for a shoe in a very long time, man.
don't tell my wife.
You got the True Blues too. I ain't put it.
And if she does happen to see this, babe, it's all entertainment.
I bet. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start it off like this. So it's been a like for us to have. We got a pay-per-view coming up this weekend, which we're gonna talk about real quick. AEW Redemption, and obviously SummerSlam is next weekend. But it feels like a cold week in wrestling. Like it feels like it's not a lot of hype. It's hype for certain matches, but not a lot of hype as it should be going into SummerSlam. AEW Redemption is the last pay-per-view to go into All In. It's not a lot, even though AEW, we know what AEW going to give us as far as pay-per-view. It's not a lot of hype going into that either.
Mm-hmm.
So here's how we're going to begin this. I'm going to ask you this question, right? You know how you always got people who wrestle, who say, you know what I'm saying, like whoever does, whether it's wrestle, footballs or whatever, they always say you can't, you know what I'm saying, always have an opinion on something you never done. That's why we always talk from a fan's perspective. We always talk from a fan's perspective. So from a fan's perspective, right? What are some of the key things in your mind that makes a great pay-per-view or PLE? Like what are some foundational pieces that have to be there? Or you know how we say, I give you a comparison. I always say this. It doesn't matter. It's for a superhero movie. It doesn't matter how good the superhero is. Don't matter how good the plot is. A superhero is nothing. A superhero movie is nothing without a great villain. There has to, in order to make it a great movie or a classic movie, the villain has to be great. Like the villain has to be dangerous. You got to feel their presence, all that stuff, right? So when it comes to like, you know how we, you know what I'm saying, we give our opinions about these PLEs or these pay-per-views, right? And we say whether they good or whether they not, what they missed, what they didn't, all this other stuff. For a wrestling pay-per-view or PLE, for those of you that don't know the difference, AEW puts on pay-per-views, WWE does PLEs, premium live events. What are some foundational pieces that have to be there that you're looking for in order for a pay-per-view or a PLE to be great?
The crowd has to be hot. Like it has to be a good crowd. Like a good crowd elevates the what's going on at least tenfold. I'll say
I
the
agree.
crowd. Then I'm
Now,
say
question. Now, a quick question to piggyback off of that, because I do agree. Is it the promotion's job to get the crowd hype, or is it the crowd's responsibility to be hype?
It's the crowd's responsibility to be hype.
Okay.
Like if you go to a football game, right? They're gonna be playing football. Like their football is gonna be played, right?
It's
No
gonna be
matter what
played.
you
Right.
want to do, football is gonna be played. But
Facts.
if the crowd is hype and it's a chaotic atmosphere, it makes the game 20 times better.
20
Like
times
no
better.
matter what, if that crowd is live, if you watching your team at an away stadium and that crowd is hype and you trash talking to keep it respectful, you trash talk. Some stadiums get out of hand with the throwing stuff and trying to put hands on people a little too far, right? But like if you hype and the crowd is going crazy, that makes the experience 10 times better.
10 times better.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that's
then,
a fact. That's
and
a
then
fact.
the performers feed off of you, right? We've heard countless interviews where the wrestlers in the ring were like, yo, this crowd is so live, like we have to put on.
Yeah.
Like if you talk about like the Hogan and Rock match from WrestleMania 18, they stood there talking to each other like, yo, do you hear this shit? Like,
That was
I
crazy.
guess we gotta switch roles now, right? Like I guess we gotta switch. So the crowd and then the storylines. Like if you have great storylines going into a pay-per-view, plus a crowd, like that just makes it like the crowd is looking forward to the blow off match. Like if this is the last match, pause that. If the crowd is going crazy and it's like a Hell in a Cell for the, it's the last match of the feud, like Punk and Drew McIntyre, like the last match in this rivalry in the Hell in a Cell, the perfect storyline, perfect performers, and then something like the Hell in a Cell to end it all. Great, right? And then I would say the performance matter too. Like if you have people that are just putting on, like they're known for wrestling, they're not going to shortchange you, they're not going to sell out. So I would say crowd, storyline, then performers.
I agree with the storylines because for those of you that's been watching for a while or from the beginning or been catching up. I mean, it's no secret that I'm more WWE than AEW, even though I do watch AEW. But that's the only reason why I don't watch AEW on a weekly basis. I'm doing better with it now, but it's not more so it's the product. It's the fact that I'm big into storylines, and AEW does it. I don't think they're as good as when WWE does storylines like when they do it right, it's peak. So I don't think they're as
When they
good.
do it right. Yeah, when
When
they
they
do
do
it
it
right.
right,
Yeah.
nobody touching them as far as storylines. But for me, like to watch weekly, week out and week out, like I was watching AEW in the beginning, like because I don't think people remember like when AEW first came out, a lot of people were starving for more wrestling because they didn't agree with a lot of stuff that was going on with Vince. You know what I'm saying? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Roman was still the big dog when
The
AEW
big
debuted.
dog, yeah.
Yeah, so like it was a lot of stuff going on that wrestling fans just ain't agree with. But I found myself watching week to week and then get to the pay-per-view and have to spend $60 for the pay-per-view. And the average fan can't afford to spend that every time. You know what I'm saying? And now that AEW when they first started, it was just like 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year. Now they having more consistent pay-per-views, and to pay that every time, like the average person can't do that. So that's my only gripe with AEW. The minute AEW becomes on one of these streaming networks like UFC just did, yes, we're gonna have to deal with the ads. It just is what it is. It's part of the business. But at least, you know what I'm saying, be affordable and be able to keep up with the storylines and stuff like that. And be able to see the climax to the storyline. So I agree with that 100%. I agree with everything you said. The only thing that I probably would add is definitely location too. Like I think location where yeah, it's a reason why Chicago always gets a PLE every year, and AEW and WWE. It's a reason why Philly always gets one. I don't know if AEW always goes to Philly, but I know WWE goes to Philly once a year. They try to anyway. So where you are matters, like as far as location. That's why I always say I don't know why he hasn't pulled the trigger on a PLE in Mexico City yet. They went out there doing their Euro tour. Europe always gives great crowd reactions. We've done nothing but copy them. We didn't start singing after people's songs until, you know what I'm saying, Europe did it. You know what I mean? So, but location matters too. That plays a role in the crowd. Like some cities just not going to have like your big crowd reactions and stuff like that. But some of the best moments in professional wrestling has come from the crowd. Man, that's not even just wrestling. That's anywhere. That's how I started watching soccer. I watched the World Cup, not 2020s, but I think it was 2016's World Cup. You can correct me if I'm wrong. 'Cause I remember hitting y'all up like, yo, like these crowds are crazy. And then I started playing FIFA after that. And then that's so I started watching more and more soccer. So yeah. Yeah, man, that's what I wanted to ask that, man, because before we do pay-per-view talk or PLE talk, so y'all that's listening, y'all let us know in the comments, man, what you looking for in pay-per-views and PLEs. That's the part that don't get talked about enough. Like we have opinions, but what are we actually looking for when we watching these PLEs to make sure it's great? Because we have expectations. And speaking of expectations, there was barely any for Saturday night's main event that happened last Saturday. The reason why we have to talk about it though, it's because of what was featured so much. Now, I'm very interested. I'm extremely interested in your opinion because you have conflict of interest. Like, you are one person or if y'all haven't been watching, Shaq is on the record saying that the WWE Hall of Fame is not a real Hall of Fame because celebrities are too much involved in it, stuff like that. You have fans that say celebrities be too much involved in the product. and then you go and you have Saturday night's main event is not on cable, so we can't call it like a regular show. So technically, it is a PLE. It's only shown on Peacock. You can only watch it on Peacock. That's the only place you can watch it. So it's not a cable program. It's not. Now, granted, based on it's a difference.
It's a televised house show.
So, all right, so we talking two different things. We're not talking about how it's booked. We're talking about how it's displayed. So how they book it and how they treat it is just another episode of Raw and SmackDown. But how it's displayed is not. It's not on cable, so we can't call it. We can't call it that, right? So everybody says all of this, and then literally majority of Saturday night's main event was featuring the New York Knicks. So I'm very curious to hear you.
NBA world champion New York Knicks, sir. Let's
okay. So I'm very curious to see how you feel about your NBA champion New York Knicks being so heavily involved in a PLE that's at Madison Square Garden.
First of all, it's not a PLE. Like, if it was a PLE, I would really have issues with it. But it's Saturday night main house show. That's what it is. Like I've always said it's a house show. Like they treat it as such. You could tell
it didn't start off that way though.
No, it didn't. No.
Like when you look at the first when people, and Alan Owens did a video about this and he was 100% right. So shout out to him. When you look at the first two Saturday night main events, it felt like a big deal. It was big matches.
Well, yeah, because they got to get the hook in. Sorry, they got to remember the first Raw on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the first Raw on Netflix was. I mean, yeah, you had what was it? What was the main event? Punk and Roman. No, it was Punk and Rollins, and then you had Solo and Roman. Yeah, Solo and Roman. I mean, Punk. Yeah, so
the grandiosity of it all, like it was a spectacle. Like they treated it as a big deal. Like so this what Monday Night Raw is gonna be like now. Yeah. No, stop. But they kind of got to that for that first couple episodes, they got to show the sponsors like, see, look what we can do, guys. And then you could blitz your foot off the gas a little bit. But to be in Madison Square Garden, it's all about publicity. And, they care about getting them extra eyes on the product. The hell with the wrestling fans. They know the wrestling fans are going to be there no matter what. Even if it's shit, even if it's trash, even if it's the worst product on earth, which it has been before. What we going to do? We going to watch and we going to complain. Yeah. But the most important thing is we're going to watch no matter what, right? But them eyes that get on ESPN, when they get on Fox 5, when the radios is talking about it, look what happened. When the newspapers are talking about, that's what they care about. And that's exactly what it was. Then let's get Cat come out of a box. Let's get Jalen Brunson in the ring, staring at a wrestler. Let's put him in the ring, holding up a title belt. That's what they care about. For that 30 minutes or so, for that publicity, that's what they care. They care about the internet clicks. They care about the publicity, ESPN ads. So I don't mind it, because had it happened on SummerSlam or some shit like that, I'd had a huge problem with it. But
so the good news is they're gonna have to change some stuff soon, because they're not selling out shows at the rate that they normally do.
That has nothing to do with the product.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna have to change something soon in regards to how they present and how they book this stuff, man. They're gonna have to. I'm gonna give you a prime example. We go into our next topic real quick. Rhea Ripley. So WWE this year, I believe, has absolutely failed the women. I think they've absolutely failed them. You look at how many times. Let me ask you a question. How many times has Liv defended the title since she won it?
I want to say one, if not none, maybe once.
Maybe once, right? How many times? How many times did Rhea defend it before she got hurt?
I think twice.
How many times did Jade defend it before she lost it?
2 or 3 times, right?
How many times has Tiffany Stratton defended the U.S. Women's title?
I don't know.
Who is the Women's Intercontinental Champion?
The Women's Intercontinental, ain't it the dude, the chick that does what's her name? That does the flip diamond cutter. Is that her?
Sol Ruka.
I was gonna say Rio. So yeah. So yeah.
Sol Ruka. Who are the Women's Tag Team Champions?
They just the because they just lost it Saturday, right? They just lost it
Fatal,
Saturday.
fatal attraction.
Fatal attraction, yeah.
So I think out of all those people we name, I think Bree and Paige defended their women's title more than anybody.
They did. Mm-hmm.
Julia defended it as much as she did, and then I think they failed the women. We've talked about this for years, how in the men as they did the women, they would have an elite product that wouldn't nobody be able to touch. It won't be no need for you to book these shows competing with AEW, nothing like that. AEW will still be able to do their thing, but WWE will have a product that, of course, we always going to have something to complain about, but for the most part, we fully engaged in. But you have stuff like this. So where I'm getting at with Rhea is they announced last week that Rhea Ripley is officially out of SummerSlam. Something
Mm-hmm.
that we already, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when you hear that she got a partially torn meniscus, I'm like, how is she going to make it to SummerSlam? Like, that's wishful thinking, right? So apparently the original plan was to have Jade versus Charlotte at SummerSlam, which they have been doing a good job of building
Mm-hmm.
towards that. I give them credit towards that. That's been a slow build for a long time. They got a good storyline going with that. It was also supposed to be Tiffany Stratton versus Blake Monroe, excuse me. Now, the significance of that match is that Tiffany Stratton is from Minneapolis. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
her hometown. You got 3 hometown superstars looking to compete at SummerSlam. Gable is one, Brock is the other, and then you got Tiffany Stratton. So apparently, because of Rhea Ripley's injury, now all of this has changed. Now we have a 5-women ladder match. We have to assume now that they scrapped Jade versus Charlotte, that Jade and Charlotte is going to be in this ladders match. Tiffany Stratton is already in the ladders match. And now we have this random ladders match for the women's WWE title. And it's not even the full title, it's interim. I don't know if you saw they
Yeah,
use the word
from there, they
interim like,
making it known that Rhea is still the champ.
yeah, like we in UFC. So my thing,
TKO. TKO.
my thing is like, now, and here's the crazy part about it. The match gonna be fire.
Yeah.
The match gonna be fire. The women always show up. They always do their thing, man. And for them to get treated, like, for you to just, for one, like, I don't understand why we still can't get Tiffany Stratton versus Blake Monroe. Like, Tiffany didn't have to be in that women's ladders match. You know what I'm saying?
At all.
ESPN is requested more matches to be on SummerSlam. So it's not going to be just 5 on each night. There's going to be like 6 to 7 matches each night because they requested more from the product, right? So here's another example. I have the women are just like, all right, we just going to do some patchwork real quick. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to put a Band-Aid over this instead of like acknowledging the fact that we have not booked the women right this year. And I don't know if that's a situation in regards to they've been trying to figure out everything going on with the men, that they've lost track of the women. I don't know what's going on. But tell me your thoughts on their Band-Aid to try to clean this Rhea Ripley situation up, the booking for SummerSlam, all this stuff. Because the only match that's been booked consistently for SummerSlam is Liv and Io. That's the only one women's wise. But go ahead, bro.
I mean, unfortunately, injuries happen, right?
Right.
And if you've been watching Unreal so far this year, I started watching like how you got to pivot and you have to pivot really fast to make something happen. I just don't think they don't really care about the women now. Not say they don't care. Like, I don't say they don't care.
No, it's obvious.
Yeah, but if they don't think the women are the draw,
they're not the priority. Is that what
they're
you're
not
trying
the
to say?
priority, right?
Gotcha.
They know that we got we got Brock, we got Oba, right? We got Seth, we got Roman, we got Chad Gable, right? There's certain things that they're hitching the wagon to. So sometimes when you front load some things, some things are going to falter. And it's obvious if like, damn, Rhea's hurt. You can always tell that Rhea is the pinnacle. Rhea is they even made up the Super Rhea, right? Super Rhea is not going to lose. So when Super Rhea gets hurt, and then women get pregnant, right? So it's just like when all the top stars are out pregnant or hurt, sometimes they be left scrambling. They just be like, "Fuck it, we got time to try to make this up somewhere."
You could tell me if I'm out of bounds when I say this, but
you're out of bounds.
Here's where I think they've missing the mark. Right? What is one thing we always say that a champion has to have in wrestling? Well, in WWE particularly, they got to have a look, right? Who are the majority of WWE fans outside of kids or wrestling fans outside of kids? Is it men or women?
Man.
Most of the time when you're on social media and you see content being made in regards to wrestling outside of giving an opinion on something that has happened, who are they talking about? Men or women? Are they talking about women?
In terms of looks, though, you're not talking about no in-ring performance. You're talking about looks.
Exactly. That's my point. That's my point. It's the same thing as the reason why some women got into wrestling was because of Randy Orton and stuff like that. When we had the episode in regards to when I made the point why are men still wrestling in draws, you know who opposed my thoughts? Women. There were women in the comments saying no, leave no, they are dressed just fine. Leave them the way it is. I don't see an issue, right? You're missing the mark. The same thing with the women.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm not saying they're objects to look at. That's why I made the reference in regards to Randy Orton. I have women that DM me Roman Reigns stuff that's not even WWE fans, but they love Roman Reigns. I'm not gonna say who, you know who you are. What's up, sis? But they know they love Roman Reigns, you know what I'm saying?
Talking about negative.
But you but you gotta feature that, man. And the same thing, we have a bunch of beautiful women in WWE that can.
Sex sells. Sex will has
Yeah.
always sold, and
Not the
sex will
Vince
continue.
McMahon way. I want to make that clear.
Well, yeah,
Not the
whoa, whoa.
not the
Woo!
Vince
Yeah,
way.
yeah. No, no,
not
no
the
diddy.
Vince
Yeah,
way.
no diddy. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Sex is the oldest profession, so sex has always sold, and it will continue to sell.
Yeah.
Like always. Yeah.
So so treat the women with priority, like because the majority we got videos all the time that say it's like a troll that say we watch wrestling for the plot, but then you see a video of Stephanie Bakira or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Appeal to that,
You
but
know what's
feature.
what's crazy? Like on that,
Uh,
when the best wrestling matches between women should, if that's the logic we're having,
yeah.
one of the best wrestling matches between women should happen in
When?
Saudi Arabia. Yeah, that's the logic we go because they're they're out there looking like Power Rangers.
Right.
So
Yeah. That's
there's nothing
true.
to look at, quote unquote.
There's nothing to look at.
Let them let them put on. Yeah. Let
They
them go
put
out there
in
and just wrestle.
and the women we not in the age of, and this is no disrespect for them, but we not in the age of Tori Wilsons and Stacey Keeblers where they can get in the ring and they can put on a match. No, these women can wrestle. And
Mm-hmm.
like the women that's featured right now, they can wrestle. And so not only do you have the
Wrestle
looks,
well too.
wrestle
Wrestle
well.
very well. Yeah.
Like this is and once again, there's no disrespect. It's just the truth. Like this is like the talent gap is like how Ronda Rousey was dominating early. You know what I'm saying? When she was the pillar of the women getting into UFC, and then all of a sudden the man, the New Year's coming, and we are like, oh, we don't reach a different level. Like we don't reach a different skill set. This is a different tier. So you got to feature that, man, and you prioritize the women. And I'll be honest with you, man. If they treat the women as a priority, it's the same thing for those of you that's still wondering why Sasha Banks never went back to WWE. This is one of the reasons why. Like when you treat like the AEW treats their women with priority, you know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have to they didn't have to let Sasha Banks do all those. I mean, myself, I thought Mercedes Moné. They didn't have to let her do all that stuff that she did on the side, but they did because they treat her as a priority, man. And when you treat women as a priority in wrestling now, then you're gonna have an elite product. Like we're past due. We're past due another women's main event at WrestleMania. It's not gonna happen next year because it's in Saudi. I mean, but
Don't.
we're past due. For the last one to be WrestleMania 35, and we're at WrestleMania 42, and the only one that we had was WrestleMania 35. And it was a terrible build up for that. If we just want to be honest, they just put that together because of Ronda Rousey. Like,
Ronda Rousey, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, man. All right. So
Speaking of women, to piggyback off of that, what do you feel about your BBL Bailey might be out the door? They say
I've been calling this since. Yeah, she is out. She's gone. Oh, she's out. She's gone. She's gone. And that hurts my heart because I think Bailey, and we never did this. We're gonna do this one day. We're gonna do our ranking of biggest fumbles from NXT call-ups. For me, Bailey is number one. I don't care what she accomplished. I know people are gonna say, "How is it Bailey? She won so many titles. She won so many championships." I say this all the time. I'm gonna say it again. I need people to go back and watch both of her debuts to understand just how popular she was. She
Mm-hmm.
was more popular than Charlotte. She was more popular than Becky. She was more popular than Sasha Banks at the time, who's now Mercedes Moné. But she never was put on the same level as them. Yeah, like you had her win championships, but when she won championships, there was nothing from her. You want to know you want to know how that theory is right? I'm gonna tell you how to prove is right, and I want anybody who's listening to comment and debate this, if you will. Bailey's most memorable championship run of any of her championships was when her and Sasha Banks was WWE Tag Team Champions in COVID during the pandemic era.
Mm-hmm.
Cause that's when people was saying not only was Roman help restoring the pandemic era, but Bailey, because every week Bailey was entertaining. That's her most memorable run. Outside of that, you can't tell me a memorable run for Bailey. Like they didn't prioritize her. It was one of those situations where, oh, we're gonna put the belt on you for right now until we figure out what's going on with Charlotte, until we're going on with figure out what's going on with Sasha, until all right, we're gonna give Becky this opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to have an elite character or whatever. They never did that for Bailey, man. And Bailey had a chance to be one of the most popular superstars of all time, male or female. That's why I said she's number one. So it's gonna hurt my heart to see her go, but at the same time, it's gonna warm my heart to see her get what she deserves. AEW is gonna prioritize her the way she should be. They're gonna treat her the way she should be because it never made no sense why she was never prioritized at the same level as the three horsewomen when she was more popular than all three of them. You know what I'm saying? So she's gone though. They said that from reports I saw, and say that WWE is going to bid to try to keep her though. Like they're going to try to match whatever AEW is willing to pay. They're going to try to match or pay more. But if I'm her, I'm out. I'm out.
And I know that's good. I know we are kind of just piggyback of how I want to word this. People leaving, right? People leaving WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought about something like watching Unreal. I thought about something,
Yeah.
and I was Zack Ryder. What the hell did you come back for?
They say he might be going back to being Zack Ryder.
But what did you come back for?
I think he can't. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Chelsea.
I think this one of the
Chelsea.
huh.
I think he came back for his wife.
Yeah, that's all it was. You know how the Good Brothers, when they was in WWE, they was just talking about, hey, look, I mean, they ain't verbally say this, but it was all hints like, look, we just here for the paycheck. Like it is what it is. Like we made our money wrestling city to city, toward us. Like, look, we just here. WWE got the bag. We here to collect this bag real quick, and then once this bag run out, then we'll go back to doing some other stuff that we was doing. That's some people, and it's cool. Like it's almost like sports. Like we talk about all the time with basketball and football, people become NFL players become free agents. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to get the bag or do you want to win? You know what I'm saying? Kind of same thing in wrestling. Like, do you want
literally the man on the indies, the man on
do
the
you want? But do you want to be the man or do you want the bag? And you know what I'm saying? Some people, hey, look. For somebody like him, we gotta have a realistic conversation now. For somebody like him, you don't always have a chance to get the bag. He can always go back to the Indies. When that contract run out, he can always go back to the Indies and pick up right where he left off. Okay, the Indies love him. He's an Indies darling, you know what I'm saying, for forever because of his run. So he can always go back to that if he want. But it's only he only had maybe one opportunity to get a bag from WWE, and they gave him the bag. He gets a chance to be with his wife. I don't know if you watched the last season of Unreal, but they building their dream house in Florida.
This season is built. They showed him inside of it.
It's so they gotta have the money to pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
These wrestlers be getting banged up. Every wrestler so far on Unreal that had their house built. Like they bought land and got their house built. So
right. It's just all about what matters the most to you, man.
It must be all right. Because Liv was saying that, I found this 15 acres and I fell in love with it. And I built the house.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta strike while the iron's hot, and like it's a difference between like a Swerve Strickland situation. Like when his contract was up, like it don't matter how much money you offer me or whatever. Like I am a featured main event lock.
I'm worth more than this. I know I'm worth more than this.
I'm worth more than this. So unless you now it's different. Now years later, nobody can argue why Cody left. Nobody can argue that. Cody is QB1. You know what I'm saying? Like Roman may be the top guy, but week to week, Cody is obviously treated like QB1. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like you know what I'm saying? So I think it's different. I look at it like that. It's just all about what matters to you the most. I don't think for him it's a right or wrong thing. I just think he came back for the bag. I think he knew what it was, but he came for the back for the bag and to be closer to his wife. And you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. He not gonna have a main event title run or anything like that no time soon. He probably frustrated with his booking, but end of the day, you know what I'm saying? It's all about it's like those contracts, those fantasy contracts that they be having. And it's like, which one would you choose? And he chose it back. You know what I mean? So, but I can see why wrestling fans like you would be like, yo, why did you even come back? You could have just stayed in the Indies and been killing still or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he get to be closer with his wife, man. I ain't gonna argue. And you get a bag while doing so.
Because that's such a joy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. We not doing that, dog. All right,
This is all entertainment, guys. I promise you, I'm just a comedian.
All right, so what was I about to say? Two more things real quick. Mike Santana, he made his debut at NXT.
Loved it.
But you can go ahead,
I hope
Kyle.
they keep his name as Mike Santana, because if you notice, the announcers did not say his name.
Yeah, sure. They probably won't. But
It's gonna be Felipe Lopez or some shit. Just Jesus, man.
But shout out to him, man. Hopefully
Yeah,
he do
I
big
loved
things
it.
in
Yeah, I loved
NXT.
it.
Yeah, hopefully do
Hopefully he
big
gets
things.
called up soon, but I think he gonna stay in NXT for a while.
Nah, stay there.
I think he
I
gonna get
mean, you
called up.
saw
I think he
because just because
gonna
you
be
get
there for a
called up
while.
don't mean they got plans for you. Like everybody ain't Javon, Trick, and Oba. Like
I'm a
you
Mike
look at
Santana fan. Like I've been a Mike Santana fan, like for a long
yeah,
time. So I hope he
yeah.
gets called up and they find him something to do. But if there's nothing to do, they'll stay in NXT for like a year or
Saying
two and cook for a little bit. Yeah,
yeah, I think he
win the
should stay.
title. Yeah,
I think he should stay in NST and cook. You know what I'm saying? So even Ricky Saints, like you could tell they building Ricky Saints up. Even Ethan Page is getting weekly features, but just because they call you up, don't mean they got plans for you. As Jordan Grace,
they ain't that
you know
much
what I'm
TV
saying?
time. Yeah,
Yeah. If I'm Jordan, I need to go back to NST. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't got no plans for her right now. There's somebody else that got called up recently that they ain't really got plans for. And we go back to the whole Sol Ruka thing. I'm still on that. I still don't think Sol Ruka deserved it, man. I don't. And I'm not hating on her. I'm just speaking how I feel. I don't think she deserved that moment. I think that moment should have went to Blake or somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But hey, here we are. So yeah, all right. So we're gonna talk about the two pay-per-views that we got coming up real quick. And I'm gonna just ask a quick question. So we got first let's talk about the one that's coming up this weekend, AEW Redemption. So just to go over the card real quick, we got Jack Perry versus Beast Mortis versus Commander versus Speedball Mike Bailey for the number one contender to the international championship. We got Bang Bang Game Pulse versus the Dogs. We got Chris Jericho versus Tommaso Ciampa in the No Holds Barred match. We got John Moxley and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. We got Ishida versus Maya World for the TBS Championship. We got Cope and Cage and, versus the Death Riders for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. We got Andrade. We got Andrade versus Mark Davis for the National Championship. You know, AEW got a million belts. Kyle Fletcher versus Bandino for the International Championship. We got Tekla versus Willow Nightingale for the AEW Women's World Championship.
how Willow?
And then we got Kenny Omega versus Kevin Knight for the AEW World Championship. Is there anything that stands out to you? Anything you're looking forward to? What's your thoughts on Redemption this weekend?
The tag match, I want to see Coben Cage versus the Death Riders.
Mm-hmm.
And that Kyle Fletcher versus Bandito match, I feel is going to steal the show.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
Kyle Fletcher, he's the future.
Cool. Shout out to Kevin Knight.
Yeah, that too. There's a reason why they call him the Proto Star.
Yes. So, who wins AEW World Title first? Kyle Fletcher or Kevin Knight?
Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher. Yeah.
Kyle Fletcher.
He's good. And then SummerSlam. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give you a couple matches from SummerSlam, and I'm gonna have you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your hype level for these matches?
Yeah, we might not have a chance to record, right? Because we got to go to the wedding.
We're gonna record Tuesday, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
We could
Tuesday for
delete
sure.
that. We could delete that out. A little bit of pre-production in the middle of a podcast.
Nah, you good because we can go live Tuesday, so we can tell the people we can go live Tuesday for SummerSlam preview.
Okay, but
Yeah,
if
we
you
can
want
do
to
that.
really do on location Thursday night,
Nah, yeah. I don't know what we got. As we probably gonna be out
then
drinking with the people, man. You know what I'm
we got
saying?
a weekend of debauchery on the way.
But all right. So EO versus Liv, scale of 1 to 10. What's your hype level?
7,
Okay. Oba versus Brock, Hell in a
10,
Cell.
10.
Okay. All right. Penta versus Gable, IC Championship. That I think that's gonna be the best match of the weekend.
I just
Outside of Seth and Roman, but go ahead.
if I'm just concerned because if Chad doesn't win it here, he's never winning it. Like this is his moment. Like this is the hometown,
Yeah.
like redemption story. Like this is his moment. So if he doesn't win it here, I'm gonna go 8, 8.5.
Let me give you a scenario. What if they turn Penta heel?
They
And
turn Chad heel.
no, what if they turn Penta heel? What if Chad loses, but in the process they turn Penta heel? I'm throwing this out there because you always like the bad guy. So I'm gonna see what your opinion is now.
So I think everybody know that's my fantasy football name right there. So
my
we're good.
my opinion has changed on this match too because you do need a fun match on the card. They got to be a wild card match on the card. So the 6-man tag between Solo, Royce Keys, LA Knight versus the Bloodline, Usos, Jacob Fatu, hype level. Okay. The women's, we don't have the full field yet, but the women's WWE interim championship match for the WWE title.
That's the ladder. It's a ladder match, right?
Yeah, it's a ladder match.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 6 just because it's a ladder match. We might get some crazy spots out of it. 6,
Okay. Cody versus CM Punk.
10.
Okay. Why 10? I just asking real quick. No right or wrong answer. I'm just asking.
So as you can see, yes, at the moment, everybody, CM Punk is my favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
But I enjoy Punk's storytelling as well as like when it comes to like psychology in the ring, I don't think there's anybody better at the moment of him telling that story while they're in the ring. And with QB1, I don't think they can have a bad match, even if they try to. Like, even if they said that we're gonna go ahead and stink it up on purpose, I don't think they could. They would still give you a C-level match, even if they weren't even firing on all cylinders.
Here's the crazy part about it. Like, for as non-hype as it is bound to SummerSlam, you legit have a chance to have like at least four classic matches out of this card. If done right, the Oba versus Brock, because that's not going to be a quick match because it's Hell in a Cell. So Oba versus Brock got a chance to be a classic. And I pray that's a classic for Oba. I pray Oba got some classics at NXT, but he hasn't really been given a chance to show what he can do when given more time.
Time on the main stage.
Yeah, and I pray that's one. But Seth and Roman, Punk and Cody, and then you got Penta versus Chad. I think those 4 matches, you got, and that's at least 4. I would, if I'm throwing if we treating this like spades and we say we got 4 in the possible, like I would throw the women's ladder match in there. I think the women gonna put on.
Spots. It'd be some crazy spots in there.
I think the women gonna put on. So we're gonna see, man. Danhausen versus Dom Mysterio. And for those of you, if you don't know by now why Danhausen is on this card, this just is what it is. Like, he got it. He, unfortunately, like, I was wrong. Danhausen, like, he got to be on SummerSlam. He has to be. He has to be, man. We got to remember WWE is also a family product. Like,
some kids, yeah.
And them kids love Danhausen. I was wrong, man. He might be the free agent signing of the year, man. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was highly disappointed when he came out that call.
I was so upset.
I was so upset, dog.
I was so upset.
I was so
and
upset.
then Willie was just laughing like, "Yeah, dog, you don't understand."
But I was wrong. I would have to admit I was wrong about Danhausen. Gunther versus Nick Aldis.
7.5.
Okay. And then the main event at night 2, Roman versus.
That's 10.
That's a 10. Speaking of that.
Just because I think we know Roman's going to win. I just want to know how they get there. How do we get to that end of that? Is it going to be clean? Is something going to happen? I think because it's the final chapter, I think they might look like the last time they're going to do this. They might just let them go clean, but how do we get to the end of that match?
Yeah, that's a fact. But it's going. It's not gonna be any interference. It's gonna be a
Yeah, I
clean
think
match.
they're gonna let it go clean, like we said, because it's the last time.
And
If
not
somebody
even
interferes in this match, I'm gonna be highly surprised.
but that's the story that's been going on with Roman. All his matches so far since he's been back, and they acknowledged that Monday. That's been the trend. Like
He's
he wants
doing
to
it by
prove,
himself,
yeah, he want to prove he can do it on his own. So I don't think
right?
this match is going to be any different. So the going last thing to talk about is Seth. So Seth recently came out. I think it was on Unreal, and he was saying how he's pretty much done everything in WWE, but there's one thing that he has not done. He said he hasn't fully main evented WrestleMania. What he mean by that is, so for those of you that's keeping tabs, so the first 2 night main event was the one in COVID. With COVID, with WrestleMania 36, they had a 2 night main event
Mm-hmm.
for WrestleMania at the they called it the Thunderdome at the time, but it was pretty much the Performance Center.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, they test piloted with WrestleMania 37. And so ever since then, we've had 2 night main events. There has been some of a debate as regards to whether night one is a true main event, but in my opinion, a main event is a main event.
Mm-hmm.
And some WrestleManias have felt like two different, entirely different shows. Like, yeah, look at last year, WrestleMania. I mean, not last year, this year's WrestleMania. A lot of people was very disappointed with night one, and then night two came out
And it
on
was
fire,
trash.
on fire. So, long story short, he said he doesn't feel like he's been the marquee. He hasn't been night two main event. He's done a couple night ones, tag match, triple threat, stuff like that, but he hasn't been locked in at the main event. He also did acknowledge that this year probably would have been the year had he not gotten hurt. Because if those of you that don't know, the original plan was Roman versus Seth at WrestleMania for night two. And they had to pivot because he got hurt. So what are your thoughts on that? Is Seth due to be in night
Yes.
two?
Yeah, meaning he hits a one-on-one on main event. Yeah. Yeah, why
Now,
wouldn't he be good?
because you have some people that say, look, night one is a main event too. Like you have main event in night one. You main event in night one a couple times. You actually won the title. I won the title. You won the match last year for in the night one main event. You know what I'm saying? Like they heavily feature you with a heel turn and stuff like that. You have some people who feel like Seth has been given a lot of opportunities and yet he's still not happy. Like Seth has had more title matches than Roman and a lot of other people. You know what I'm saying? He's been featured more than a lot of other people. He's been put in positions at time after time. And this once again is not a conversation of whether he deserved it or not. Some people just feel like, he has had that chance and this really shouldn't be I don't know if this was a complaint. This is just something that he just feels like he needs to do. So yeah, there are some
I
people
don't
that's
think
on the other side
complaint.
of the
It's
fence.
just something he needs to do. Yeah, I don't think it's as a complaint.
Yeah.
And
I for the record.
I don't wrong him.
Yeah. For the record, I agree with you. I just wanted to play devil's advocate. I do agree. I just don't know how we get there. Cause this was the one. If you was gonna have a main event,
This was the one. Yeah.
it was Roman versus Seth. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, he got hurt, so they had to pivot.
Or
Nah,
Seth versus Braun.
or you could circle back to Seth and Punk. That
Because if
could
you
make.
watch, because if you watch Unreal, they wanted Braun to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, they wanted Braun to win the Royal Rumble. So I don't think Seth and Braun is a night two main event though. It's night one, maybe.
If you see Braun as the future, then what better place to crown him than night two at WrestleMania?
I agree.
If you see him as the future.
I agree, but you also got to look at the money
No, yeah, but
aspect.
Roman. Yeah, Roman. Yeah.
There's, I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, but nah, but a night two main event could possibly be Punk and Seth. Best possible. But once again, like you would have to move Roman to night one. And I bias hat off. Which match would you book night two? Roman versus Oba or Seth versus Punk? Both for titles. So one would be for the World Heavyweight Championship, the other one for the WWE title.
I'm biased, so you know I'm gonna say Punk, but there is anything involving Roman's gonna be the night two main event as of now for the foreseeable future.
The better match will probably be Punk versus Seth. So people probably look forward to that match more. But the hype,
Yeah.
because everybody's gonna be ready to see Oba win. That's gonna be night two. And for the reason that you just said about Braun, if you see him as the future, what better way to crown him than night
Yes,
two?
agreed. Yeah, no
You know what I'm
argument. No
saying?
argument.
But you can't go wrong with either match, man. But I think that would be at this point. I think that would be the only way we get there. Unless, and you could even spin the block on Roman and stuff, depending on what happens in this match. There's some matches that you would never see get tired of seeing. I give you another one, Seth and Cody, right? That storyline is there because Seth has never beat Cody in WWE. Well, I don't know about prior to when he came back, but ever since WrestleMania 38, when Cody came back, Seth has not beaten Cody. So that storyline is there too. So the more I think about it, you got a couple avenues, and I do agree. I think he is due. So we just got to see. Sometimes it's unfortunate, man. Sometimes you're in a fortunate situation, man. So we'll see. All right, bro. You got anything for us or we out of here?
Yeah, I got one.
What we got?
What's up to all my people that love and still watch wrestling? Either or this or that is a segment where I come up with a crazy concept, question, scenario, or fantasy booking for the fellas, and we just shoot ideas back and forth to see what they can come up with. So for tonight, and I'm very curious to see if Bro can answer this question, or even if you all in the chat, in the comments, can answer this question on the fly. When you have time to think about it, sure, you can answer it. I know we love doing Mount Rushmores, right? We love doing Mount Rushmores, but for this Mount Rushmore, we're going to be all inclusive. So I want you to consider everything that goes in to wrestling. I'm talking about wrestling mind, performance, whatever impact, whatever you think is important to wrestling, what they've done for the business. I want you to give me your Mount Rushmore, but it is going to be for the history of wrestling. And that includes all promotions. That's ECW, TNA, Ring of Honor, WWE.
I don't think I'm the right person for this. I will just be real with you. I don't think I'm the right person for this. But hey, you asked me the question, so we're gonna go for it. But I can already tell you right now, it's not gonna be anybody from New Japan Wrestling or TNA. I'm just be real. I didn't watch TNA when the IWC was watching TNA. I wasn't watching. But what I can say is Sting would be up there for sure. Sting take Ric Flair, that last spot. That last spot is tough. It would be between, for those of you that's listening, yes, technically it should be Hulk, but Hulk's not going on my Mount Rushmore.
Mine either. Mine either.
So it's just throwing it out there. He's not going to be up there. But if anybody said he should be, I wouldn't argue with you. I just, for personal reasons, I'm not putting him up there. It's between HBK and Stone Cold. If we talking about importance and history, man, I'm gonna go Stone Cold. Only because if we not talking who the better wrestler was or who the better performer, but from a historical aspect, even though it was a short term, what Stone Cold did in those 6 years will live on forever.
The
And
argument.
And you have some, you know how we talk about songs and music, especially with hip hop and R&B, like songs that transition generations. So like songs that last a lifetime and stuff like that. A lot of kids these days are not going back and watching HBK moments, but they're going back on YouTube and they're looking at them Stone Cold moments for sure. So for like, if you was to ask kids in this generation coming up, like what some of their favorite moments were, or like what did their parents introduce them to? 9 times out of 10, it was something dealing with Stone Cold. So yeah, I'm gonna go Sting, Taker, Rick, Stone Cold. But it's a few people that got arguments. Like HBK could be up there. Who else could be up there?
There's a lot of names that could go up there.
You know who? We don't talk about this name enough. But just for me, from an importance, somebody who was like real prominent around the time when I first really got into wrestling, like not just watching, because I was watching wrestling since I was 8, but like really getting into it as a fan. Yokozuna, yo. Yokozuna was very prominent around the time I really was getting into wrestling, man. That's why I always say the biggest swindle for me was actually believing he was Japanese. As a kid, I actually believed he was Japanese. But
He looked like it.
But Yoko was just this unstoppable force that was dope in the ring, man. And
The move.
he had
Yeah.
he had some of my favorite storylines coming up. Like as a kid, I enjoyed rooting against him. but he was that dope as a villain, man. As a heel, Yoko as a heel, we don't talk about it enough, man. As him being one of the best heels ever, man. Like he was literally unstoppable. That's why WrestleMania 9 pisses people off so much, man.
No, it was just bad. It
Yeah,
was just bad.
but no, I'm talking about the ending. My bad. And
Oh,
not
the ending was
not
terrible. The
yeah,
pay-per-view was terrible, but the ending was
yeah,
horrible.
and
Yeah.
that's why because it shouldn't have happened that way, you know what I mean? But Yoko, man, was this unstoppable force that was super dope. So if I'm talking about pillars for me, he would be in discussion. But just in the history of wrestling in general, and I'm only going by like people that I know, but yeah, mine would be Sting, Taker, Rick, Stone Cold. Yeah, that would be mine.
Not mad at it, brother. Not mad at it.
Yeah, that would be mine. That would be
Let
mine.
us know in the comments, man, what y'all think, including all wrestling. I'm surprised. I'm gonna be honest. I said that for a reason, but Paul Heyman's definitely on my Mount Rushmore.
I can see that.
Like he's 1000% for just wrestling mind. What he done from BCW to ECW to now, his wrestling mind and what he's done for wrestling, he has to be on there.
And you mentally get ready, cause I'm already tell you now what the opening segment is gonna be for Tuesday when we live on YouTube. You're gonna blind rank greatest tag teams of all time across all promotions. Well, not across all promotions, but you know what I mean.
The Rockers #1. Book it.
But yeah, man, appreciate y'all locking in with us to this episode, man. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the content. Remember, we on YouTube, Spotify, we on Apple Podcasts, we on mainly Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So y'all like and subscribe to the content. Make sure y'all engaging with us. But until next week, as we get ready for SummerSlam, man, we out, man. Y'all be easy, stay blessed, and have a great weekend.